another SourceFed Nerd Book Club. I'm Trisha Hirschberger.
I'm Sam Basher, and today we're going to talk about Book 3 of the Hunger Games series, Mockingjay.
And there's a movie coming out about it soon, so if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, you can go to audible.com/sfnerd, and you get a free book and a free month trial. And if you want to use that free book on Mockingjay because you haven't read it yet, you could totally do that.
There's over like 150,000 titles that you could choose from if you wanted.
What? So many different options. One of those really cool options happens to be the sequel to the book Go the Fuck to Sleep.
That's a good book.
Which is, have you listened to it?
Oh, I've listened to it. Never read it.
It's narrated by Samuel L. Jackson. And so the sequel is out now called You Have to Fucking Eat.
And it's narrated by, who's it narrated by? Our
Bryan
favorite.
Cranston.
Walter White.
Here, we're gonna listen to a little bit of it for right now. Just.
This is Audible. Audible Studios presents You Have to Fucking Eat. Written by Adam Mansbach.
Great.
Performed by Bryan Cranston.
Thanks, Brian.
The sunrise is golden and lovely. The birds chirp and twitter and tweet.
It's beautiful.
You woke me and asked for some breakfast. So why the fuck won't you eat? The bunnies are munching on carrots. The lambs nibble grasses and bleat. I know you're too hungry to reason with, but you have to fucking eat.
He's so gentle yet so forceful at the same time. That Bryan Cranston.
It's jarring.
Favorite treat.
You want to see what he sounds like sped up?
I'm surprised that you suddenly ate them. That's bullshit. Stop lying and eat.
All right, so we don't want to spoil the whole book for you, but if you too would like to listen to You Have to Fucking Eat, narrated by Bryan Cranston, you can do that at audible.com/Cranston.
And if you want to download it, you can do it till November 26th.
For free!
For free!
So you can go to audible.com/sfnerd,
SFNerd.
get your free book on us, which could be like Mockingjay or something, and then head right on over to audible.com/Cranston and get that book for free before November 26th.
Too many
free
things.
books.
Too many free things.
Yeah. All right, so before we jump into Mockingjay, we have to say that we are going to be discussing the book.
Entire book, and there's 2 movies, so yes, there are spoilers in this.
So yeah, don't go see Mockingjay Part 1 and then come watch this audible.com book review because
There'd be, surprises.
we'll tell you stuff that you have not seen yet, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm
Unless
sure.
they cover the whole book in Part 1, and then who knows what Mockingjay Part 2, the movie, will be.
Who knows?
Who knows? So, Sam, overall, what'd you think of the book?
Overall, this is a very polarizing book because it's either you love it or you hate it. Like there's no one in the middle. I love this book.
Okay.
And it's just barely better than Catching Fire, which I love more than the first, because you're not just in the arena again, you're dealing with Katniss and how she's dealing with having to be the Mockingjay. Also, she's been in basically 2 wars in the span of 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
So, and now she's in another one that's on a scale of both of those combined. And she's lost her home. Which is not spoiler because you already know that. But she lost her home. She doesn't know where Peeta is. She doesn't know the welfare of Peeta. And throughout the book, you see him just being wrecked, and she can't do anything
wrecked.
about it.
Welcome to Mockingjay, where everybody's wrecked.
Everybody, fucking, you will feel terrible at the end of this book for 2 reasons. One, the story just wrecks your heart, and then the ending is.
We will get to the ending
Sorry, I'll
in
stop
a second.
there.
Overall thoughts.
Overall, I like it the best out of the trilogy.
Okay, my overall thoughts on Mockingjay. I didn't like it as much as I liked Catching Fire, and that's because I kind of read it for the lady purposes, and I enjoy the romance. And in this book, there's a lot of real shit going on, and it wasn't as fun as the second one for me, if that makes any sense. Not that war and dystopian society is ever really fun, but the second book was more fun for me. And we went into Twitter to see what you guys had to say about it. Swaggy Duck at Inefficient Bear says, honestly, it was the worst book. Even the parts that were dramatic seemed underwritten. The first 2 are better. There are parts of this book, I would say, that do feel a little rushed through.
Really? What parts? For you, at least, if you
the
can
last
remember.
chapter.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, never mind.
We'll get to that. But that,
agreed on that part.
For me, Juliana at Sungreal says, Mockingjay is an emotional train wreck. Nobody's safe. Stakes are high. Hearts will be broken. Favorite book of the 3.
Oh, God. There's so much, Katniss just gets wrecked. That's all that happens in this book is like, she's like, okay, she's like getting better, and then bam,
Boom.
something happens in life, like getting better. Now she's strong, and then Peeta comes back. It's like, what?
Well, the whole series is kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like she gets through the Hunger Games, and you're like, thank God, now it's all over. No,
No.
just kidding. Yeah, no.
No.
There's a lot of no. And the whole book, whether you're listening to it on Audible or whether you're reading it, is from Katniss's point of view.
Yeah.
So you really feel like her in
Yes.
this situation.
And you feel like her weaknesses, and
Yeah.
you feel her fighting to like overcome like Snow and Coin, and like just like not being so unsure, and also having the weight of a nation on her shoulders, and all these rebels, and just like it's sometimes I remember when I had to read it, because I had to read it for a humanities class.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
which was cool, because I was like, why are we reading Hunger Games? And then we read it and discussed it, and that was cool. But it's emotionally taxing sometimes reading, especially this book.
Yeah, because she's going through so much, and you're missing parts of the story that she's missing. So you feel the same confusion that she does.
Yeah.
At Nissa X3 says, I love how raw the book was with Katniss's mentality after the whole series. If you went through all of that, you'd be unstable
Yes, you
too.
would. Yes, you would. They very much captured that in the end, which we'll get to later. But like in the end, like that's just like you can see that she's just had it. She's had it. Like
done.
she don't give one fuck at
She's
all.
done. Yeah, Asti Karina Flores at Vasti Flowers says, rereading for the third time. I
Whoa.
think it's a great representation of what war really is, with real consequences, including PTSD.
Like, and I like in this book, there's no good guy really in this. There's no good guy, like except for
Exactly.
Katniss, who is the only good because she is who you're experiencing this
Right,
through.
she's not really 100% good either in this.
She's
And
murdered people.
in war, that's often the case.
She's just an instrument. That's it. She's propaganda. That's all she is, and then a soldier at some points. But like, God, you can never root for anybody except for maybe Katniss just making it out of this. You don't want anyone to win.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to PTSD, do you think that a lot of the stuff that we see Katniss go through in Mockingjay is as a result of some type of PTSD?
And not just Katniss, same with Finnick. Because Finnick was like, he's
oh,
this playboy,
Finnick.
and he's awesome in 2 in Catching Fire, and then like he's gone in the beginning of this book. Like he is weak, like he is crushed, and like Katniss like sometimes has to pull
and
him.
Annie.
Oh, that's so sweet. The only probably good part of this book is
it's
their
like-
wedding. You're like, we can just talk about.
We can talk about it. Anyone who's watching this, we assume you have also listened to or read the book.
Yes, please. When he dies, I
lose your
heard,
shit?
Yes, because I'm like, whoa, this character was introduced. You grab onto I grabbed onto him quicker
Yeah.
than I grabbed onto Peeta.
Okay.
For me at least.
Okay,
and
fair
so,
enough.
And then when he's going through all that tough time, I was mad at him because I'm like, dude, you were really cool, but at the same time, I relate with him because it's like, you can see his
Because
emotional.
Sam's a pretty boy.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why he relates with Finnick.
Well, no. It's just that he gets to he's confident, and it's like what every guy who has like every guy wants to be confident, and like when you see him lose it, you're like.
And he's also kind of like the humor and the lighthearted part of like, yes, they're going into the Hunger Games, but Finnick always has a smile on his face. And we find out, of course, in Catching Fire that there's deeper hurt beneath the smile on his
even
face. And
deeper
that's
in
and
the
in the
third.
third one it just goes, again, you really feel shitty when you read this book.
There aren't good people in this world. There aren't, except for Prim.
So
maybe.
talking about no sides being good in this, I was reading an interesting article that was discussing like what war really is, that there's no good sides, everybody's evil in it, and who's more manipulative in this book, the Capitol or District 13? Because you brought it up a little, saying that Katniss was just made to be propaganda, and she was. It's
for both sides.
It's so cyclical because for the Capitol, they're putting her in makeup and costumes and telling her what to say in front of camera, and you think all that's done, and here she is in District 13 putting on makeup and wearing costumes
Going
and
out to
saying
the
the right thing in
battlefield.
front of the camera just for the other side.
Traveling to districts, just trying to make the whatever side she's representing look good. That's all she's doing. So.
And then when it gets down to the very nitty gritty at the end, Coin or Snow, I mean, she makes a decision. Is that the right decision? Who's better off? And I mean, really, in the ending, when we see the vote of if the Hunger Games will continue, but to punish the other side, Katniss votes that they should.
Yeah.
That's the moment when I was like, you are not the hero, Mama.
No, and I was I don't know if they ever clarified it because I don't remember every detail, but
Right.
that after she, we can talk about the ending now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. After she kills Coin, do they go along with that decision? It's one more Hunger Games to punish the Capitol. Do they do it?
Well.
That's
The
thing.
way that I read it, I interpreted it as they are continuing the Hunger Games and they're finalizing the details for it and figuring it out. And it's to make the Capitol remember what they did to the district. So it's the opposite of the way it was
but it's
before.
the same. But it's the same.
But you're still killing little kids that didn't do anything, you assholes. And this is where I think that Peeta and Prim are two best characters.
They are.
Like as far as like good-hearted. Peeta says no to
Yeah.
the Hunger Games, even after he's been through the same thing she has and's been hijacked.
To be fair, worse. He went through
Yeah.
worse than she did. He was tortured.
Yeah.
He was brainwashed. Like, he went through everything. He went through hell. He didn't know how to trust his own brain. When he was trying to figure out his memories, he's like, oh, one memory is shiny, one memory is kind of dull, and he
Yeah.
didn't differentiate between
God.
fake and real. Like,
So shitty.
but he still knew right from wrong. He still had a moral compass. At the end, Katniss kind of didn't, even
Yeah,
though she
she
made
kinda doesn't.
like the last minute decision to kill her. Like, sure, kind of. You still murdered somebody though, so I don't know.
And Gale is kind of way off the moral deep end by
Yeah.
the time we get to that point in the story.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about the ending, it's super shitty because it feels like nothing's really resolved, and everybody you like dies. At Bella Anna says, I cried. Being so focused on the characters, it seemed like it was all for nothing. Poor Prim.
When that happened, like, she said that she saw Prim, and then the second bomb went off, and I was like, no.
That's what I thought
Yeah,
too,
like,
because
I
it like
think
ends
everybody
the chapter
did.
right there, and you're like, nah.
No. I'm like, no way did you just kill a 12-year-old. No way, like, you killed a 12-year-old.
Is that what age she is at
I
that
believe
point?
it's like she's like 12 or 13, like, or maybe younger. Would she be younger?
Well, I know that the book goes through a lot of like Prim coming into her own and really acting like an adult, and like this is her job, is that she's taking on the job of the medic. So when all these children are dying via explosive that most likely Gale came up with the plan for. Everybody's dying. Prim runs in there to try to save these poor little babies. And then it's like, so going way back to the beginning, Katniss saying, no, don't take Prim, I'll go in her place, was this whole journey for nothing?
I don't know, but that happens, and then. Well, can we talk about
Do you wanna
Finnick
talk
for a
about-
second?
Okay,
talk
go
about
back
Finnick.
to- let's talk
just
about Finnick.
Finnick for just a second, because he had like the most like I like in the
And
series.
the most horrifying death scene.
Yes. Oh my God. What the hell were those things? He was like human, lizard, albino people that
That were
wanted,
created by the Capitol.
Yeah, that all they wanted was to devour Katniss. That's the only purpose they were created, and they'd kill anyone in their way. Insane. And the pods that were like placed all around the city to get the rebels. Insane. When Finnick starts to explain to Katniss what the president made him do about like he sold him to like the upper class as a sex slave and just to get like secrets, and like he was a tool of the president. And then the president, I like the nod that they did in the second movie because it was very sly when it happened, and I had already forgotten it when it led to the third book about the blood in the champagne. Remember when he drank it in the movie? And then in this, it's like, oh, it's because of the poison, and that's why he has the rose. And I was like, oh my God, that was really cool. The second movie's much better than the first, in my opinion. I like the second movie, but
I like the second movie better because I
of
like the second
movie.
book
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, but Finnick, he didn't deserve that.
Finnick doesn't deserve shit. Prim
No.
doesn't deserve shit.
Peeta doesn't deserve
shit. Yeah, it's a
shitstorm all the way
it's a
around.
shitstorm. So the shitstorm is tied up with a nice, neat little bow, or I think that was probably the intention.
But
in the very last chapter, where we go suddenly from everything being shit, it's shit, everyone's upset, to fast forward, 10, 15, 20 years, something like that in the
Something
future.
like that.
7 years I forget how many years in the future. Fast forward into the future, and Katniss and Peeta are married, have 2 children, and, just paint
That's
and
it.
bake things now.
And there's this point when like she is so catatonic. She's like wrapped up in her old clothes, and like they like go into details of her like taking them off and her skin shedding off, like. And like I'm like, why are you going into these details? And like, why did Gale abandon you? Like, why?
Yeah,
did, like,
why are you
all
going
this?
into wrapping yourself in clothes details, but not the details?
Yeah, like why?
Of you and Gale never talking again, or
Exactly.
you and Peeta actually getting together. I think for anyone that was in it for the romantic storyline, that was Team Peeta or Team Gale, you wanted to see the resolution of that, not just skip the resolution of it and cut to the final result without seeing that resolution.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded one more chapter to it. Like okay, Coin's dead. 2 chapters. One to explain like how everything starts to resolve itself in the country. Like,
Yes.
This is how like
Yes.
this is where like okay, Gale has decided to go off and help the districts, like
Yeah.
or to wherever he went, like won't get District 3 or something, and like all the other characters that you love that managed to survive somehow.
The
like,
few that survived
the
this
3,
shit.
and they they go on and help, and like how the capital's reformed, and like if anything got better at all, and then
Yeah.
and then the last chapter is Katniss dealing with it, like doing that and knowing that like Peeta was there for it, Haymitch was there for her.
I wanted to see her and Peeta fall back in love.
Nope, you didn't though. They just
You don't get to
it was
see
one
that.
paragraph basically.
Yeah, it's all. I feel like someone was like, "Hey, you got to finish this book."
You've got all day.
Today.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, okay. Whoop, whoop,
like she
whoop,
put
done.
all of her effort into the prim scene, like, cause that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, after so much shit, I really yearned for that happy resolution, at least of that, as much as it could have been happy, just to see it happen.
But
And we didn't
no.
get it. And that's okay, you know. That's the way it could have been. At Dima Rasul says, I was so pissed off with the ending that I threw my book at the wall. I'm not Team Gale or Peeta. I was Team Katniss all the way.
Yeah, if you're Team Katniss, you kind of got let down. Actually, all teams got let down with that.
All
ending.
teams got let down. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what team you were. I don't know. I overall was Team Peeta because I thought he was a really good balance for Katniss and
Yeah.
who she was, and I thought he helped her when she was at her weakest, and she was certainly able to help him when he was at his weakest. I think that Gale and Katniss were a little bit too similar.
Yeah. No, I was Team Peeta as well. Like
Okay.
I liked Peeta being like the reasonable person in the room. Usually, like I've never seen it. He was never like unreasonable or like he
Except
wanted
for
to
when
kill.
he was hijacked.
Except for when he was hijacked. Like that was it. Like when he had no control over it. And Gale just was too. He was Katniss. He was the male version of Katniss, and
With bigger anger management problems.
yeah, right? Like I like you don't need to be with him, and like I didn't like it when any of the storylines besides the first book had to deal with him at all. Like I didn't like the relationship storylines they had in the first book. Later on they kind of worked, but I just wanted her to be with Peeta and not to mess around anymore.
Or if nothing else, if Peeta's mind was destroyed in all this,
Yeah.
she could have just been by herself.
Yes. And that could have
We
been a
didn't
great
need
story
to
too.
resolve it with now I'm married and have babies and still don't understand my life.
I mean, that's a lesson, I guess, but like a shitty one. Like not even shitty as in that, oh, that sucks. It's like, no, you just didn't finish the book, kind of. Maybe the
Well-
movie will fix it.
Maybe,
Hey, the
and
movie could
that's
fix it.
good.
Yeah.
So yes, so we have movies coming up. Movies are different entities than books,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the movie will have an opportunity to explain that a little bit more than the books.
Yeah, because like the second
Do.
movie was very good at sticking to this. The second movie
It
was
was
good at
pretty
sticking to the second
faithful.
book, but they did it in a way that was like cinematic, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked what they did with that. So I would like to see what they do with this. I don't know. This,
So,
yeah.
if you guys had a chance to listen to Mockingjay, or if you've read it before, please let us know your thoughts on the whole shebang down in the comments section. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe to this channel if you like, or you can even check out these annotations, and make sure that you go to audible.com/sfnerd to get your free book and your first month for free. I'm Trisha
Please,
Hirschberger.
I'm Sam. Check out the drawing board.
Check out the drawing board
Check out
with
the drawing
Sam.
board and let us know if Peeta's. I don't know. I got
What if
nothing
that
there.
is what?
I don't know. Josh Hutcherson's so short. You ever
Is he
seen
really?
it?
Did you
Yeah,
meet him in
he's-
real life?
He's like 5'2".
I just saw, what's that movie that he was in as a kid that's like Jumanji but in space?
Oh, Zathura.
Is that what it's
Yeah,
called?
Zathura.
I saw that and I felt real weird.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, Pete,
They're gonna
I-
do it,
no.
but I saw him as a kid, and you feel awkward about that, like
Yeah.
Harry Potter growing up, and you don't like seeing him like that.
Like as a little kid.
Like I don't like seeing him as an adult.
Oh,
It feels
really?
wrong.
It makes
feels
you-
wrong. Same with Emma Watson. I'm like, I saw you as a kid. I don't like this. Same with Josh Hutcherson.
It's
You're
hard,
kids.
yeah, it's hard to be attracted to someone that you saw as a little kid.
That's the lesson here.